Following the hearing involving Dr. Blasey Ford and Brett Kavanaugh, we now have time to reflect on some of Kavanaugh's answers, and it appears that he was either misleading or just flat out lying in some of the answers that he gave. Now, we have a number of examples, a number of videos, so I want to get through these videos as quickly as possible so we can have a conversation about them. But with that said, let's give you the first example.
Let's look at Beach Week Ralph Club biggest contributor. What does the word Ralph mean in that?
That probably refers to throwing up. I'm known to have a weak stomach, and I always have. And this is well known. Anyone who's known me, like a lot of these people behind me, have known me my whole life, know, I got a weak stomach, whether it's with beer or with spicy food or anything.
So the vomiting that you reference in the Ralph Club reference related to the consumption of alcohol?
Senator, I was the top of my class academically, busted my butt in school.
Have you, I don't know if it's buffed or boofed, how do you pronounce that?
That refers to flatulence. We were 16.
Okay.
And we want to talk about flatulence at age 16 on a yearbook page. I'm game.
I did not find him credible. I don't believe boof is flatulence. I don't believe the Devil's Triangle is a drinking game. And I don't believe calling yourself a girl's alumnus is being her friend.
Yeah, I think that this is relevant. I mean, we're having this weird conversation in this country where we're looking at somebody's yearbook from so long ago, et cetera. And I get it, like braggadocio from your yearbook page is not something that should keep you from the Supreme Court. But we're looking at his credibility. And I don't mind him lying back then or doing stupid things, not sexual assault, but the over drinking, et cetera. Who cares about that, right? But why is he lying about it now? The boof thing, apparently, I didn't know this, I had to look it up, I guess I'm a dork, whatever, right? It is not referred to flatulence, it is a reference to anal sex. So these are all uncomfortable terms and uncomfortable things to discuss, but that's what we're in. And by the way, Kavanaugh asked horribly inappropriate questions to Bill Clinton himself, so he has no ground to stand on there. So why would you, why don't you just say what it is and go, we were goofy teenagers talking about anal sex. I mean, bringing that up is terrible, but Devil's Triangle, very relevant, because that is not a drinking game. That is 2-on-1, two guys on one girl. Now, everybody knows that. Now, you're lying about it right now. You're not lying about it when you were 16 or 17. You're lying about it right now. And so that makes me wonder, why are you lying about it?
For me, I think the bigger picture is, are we okay with our country being run and presided over by judges who are sexual predators? Or should that not be okay?
I'm certainly not okay with it.
Yeah, and I think it's really, women are gonna have to save this country. And it's been run long enough by sexual predators, and it's time to put an end to it. And if you're a woman, you're out there, please run for office, please become a judge, please become the head of a revolutionary cadre, whatever you've got to do to turn this around. Women should be in the lead from now on.
Right, and it's what that position represents. It's the highest level of our justice system, right? These are the people who interpret and enforce our Constitution. And do we trust someone who could potentially be, an alleged attempted rapist to carry out that job? And by the way, again, we don't know, which is why this FBI investigation is so incredibly important. However, if you take those allegations out of it and just focus on the number of lies that were told during that hearing, that's problematic. I mean, he's testifying under oath. This is serious.
Yeah, we know why he lied about Devil's Triangle, because it's the same accusation that Dr. Ford levied. It's not that, it's not exactly the same thing, but he didn't want that suggestion.
It's in the devil's ballpark.
Right, that's right. God bless you. It's in the devil's ballpark. Yeah.
But look at all the lies. Ralphing, dude, you Ralph because of the beer. Everybody knows that. Not because of spicy food. Everybody knows
nobody
that.
Puts their reaction to spicy food and a weak stomach on their yearbook page. I put a lot of dumb stuff on my yearbook page, but not that.
No.
Sometimes when I drink too much coffee after 3 o'clock, I pee quite a bit. That's going on my yearbook page.
I know.
I know, but I just got to say about the Ralphing. Look, if you were human and credible and not lying, what you would say is, yeah, Ralph, we went and we drank too much beer and I threw up. That doesn't mean I did a sexual assault, but yeah, I drank too much beer. It's not that hard. His go-to move is the lie. He can't help himself. At every turn, it's one lie after another.
You could even combine the lie with part of the truth in that, the thing of it is, my friends, they could all drink 8 or 9 beers, and I drank 3 or 4, and I threw up. So that's why that's in there.
That's
right. We're like, everybody believes that.
It's his gut instinct is to lie, and he's done it almost at every turn.
The reference to Renata was another lie, so let's take a look at that exchange.
You mentioned, I think, the Renata, I don't know how you pronounce that. That's a proper name of an individual,
Renata.
Renata. It's spelled with an E at the end, R-E-N-A-T-E. Is that
correct?
Okay. And then after that is the word alumnius. What does the word alumnius mean in that context?
I explained that in my opening statement. She was a great friend of ours. A bunch of us went to dances with her. She hung out with us as a group. The media circus that has been generated by this thought and reported that it referred to sex. It did not. Never had any, as she herself said on the record, any kind of sexual interaction with her. And I'm sorry how that's been misinterpreted, and sorry about that, as I explained in my opening statement, because she's a good person. And to have her name dragged through this hearing is a joke and really an embarrassment.
So that one was so important that after the show was over yesterday, we had to go and do it in the post game for the members because I wanted to clarify. Because when he got emotional about Renata in his opening statement, I gave him credit yesterday on the show and said it seemed like he was really regretful that they had done the Renata alumnius thing, because that's 14 guys, a lot of them football players talking about the same girl. We all know what that means, right? And it doesn't mean that they thought this is the one girl we really respect.
And just to be clear,
come on, no one believes that. But it seemed like in the opening statement, like he was regretful about that. But when in the follow-up questions with Sheldon Whitehouse and what we showed you in the postgame and what you just saw right there, he continues to lie and pretend, oh no, us football players, we wrote that because we just liked her so much. No, everyone who's ever gone to high school in America knows you put that in there because you guys claimed you hooked up with her. And so I can stomach you being regretful. We said it because we hooked up with her and I feel so terrible about that. We should have never done that. We were stupid 17-year-olds. God damn it, why did we do that, right? That I can live with. You saying, no, it wasn't about sex. It was because we really liked her. Oh, get the hell out of here. That's an obvious lie.
A lot of us took her to dances. And again, just to be clear, it doesn't prove anything that anything happened in high school. It merely claims that they all decided to claim that they had.
Exactly. And so Renata was one of the individuals who supported him when all these allegations came out and essentially said that she could stand by his character and that he's a good person. And then once this whole Renata yearbook reference came up and she was notified about it, she was really hurt. And she's like, I can't believe that they would do such a thing. It's so hurtful. And so I do believe that he's regretful or remorseful. I do think that he was genuine about that in his opening statement, but I also believe that he's lying about what that reference really meant.
No one, I don't care if you're MAGA. I don't care if you're Trump's uncle, you know that's referencing hooking up and not how much they respected her. You know it. You know that's a lie.
And then what bothered me was in the White House questioning, and of course a closer examination, really important work that Sheldon Whitehouse did, was his notion that because she claimed nothing had happened between them, that somehow she had exonerated him. And that then he was able to, in his mind, take this moral high ground and sit back in his chair like, I can't believe you're bringing her up. She said nothing happened. Obviously, that bothered me enormously.
Yes.
So we're judging people's credibility here. We're judging, it's an unfortunate situation, but we're judging Christine Blasey Ford's credibility and we're judging Kavanaugh's credibility. All the Republicans now, I don't know if it's all, but almost all of them have now even gone on the record and say, yeah, she was credible. Even Trump today said she was credible. So, and they hired a prosecutor to break down her credibility and she didn't do it. The minute the prosecutor started to break down Kavanaugh's credibility by pointing out the calendar July 1st date where the party seems to have happened, they're like, she's done, Lindsey Graham, yell at somebody, right? So now we're showing you how many different lies. If we're judging credibility, one person seems immaculate, the other person seems like a great number of occasions where his natural instinct is to lie.
So let's go to his exchange with Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, because this has to do with the polygraph test. He refused to take a polygraph test, whereas Dr. Blasey Ford did. Now, before we get into this debate about the credibility of polygraph tests, I want you to just quickly watch this exchange, and then I'll fill in the blanks for you.
Judge Kavanaugh, have you taken a professionally administered polygraph test as it relates to this issue?
No, I'll do whatever the committee wants. Of course, those are not admissible in federal court, but I'll do whatever the committee wants. They're not admissible in federal court because they're not reliable, as you know.
So you've not taken one?
Right.
Okay, so he was not having the polygraph test. Okay, he's like, they're not reliable. Now, let me quote you, Brett Kavanaugh, in a decision he made as a judge. As the government notes, law enforcement agencies use polygraphs to test the credibility of witnesses and criminal defendants. Those agencies also use polygraphs to screen applicants for security clearances so that they may be deemed suitable for work in critical law enforcement, defense, and intelligence collection roles. And he went on to say, the government has satisfactorily explained how polygraph examinations serve law enforcement purposes. So he's clearly on the record in a decision saying, polygraphs are reliable enough for the government to use them, especially when screening someone for work, which is exactly what they're doing with Kavanaugh. Now, he's like, polygraph, that's totally unreliable. I don't know. Who looks guilty? Who looks guilty? It's super obvious.
So I would draw a direct comparison here between a polygraph test and hearsay evidence, which is not admissible in a court of law, but which every law enforcement agency uses when they gather the information. Tom said that he killed that guy. Well, you can't call me in court necessarily maybe to say that, but they're gonna call Tom and they're gonna investigate it, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the next exchange is with Cory Booker, and just pay close attention to what Kavanaugh says about one of Dr. Blasey Ford's friends.
All the witnesses who were there say it didn't happen. Ms. Kaiser is her longtime friend, said she never saw me at a party with or without Dr.
And Ms. Kaiser has said clearly, and I'll quote what she said. She said she does not remember that in question. That supports what you said. But she also says that she believes Dr. Ford.
So that was referenced in a Washington Post story. So she absolutely did say that she believes Dr. Ford. And she also said that she had no recollection, as Cory Booker perfectly laid out there. And it didn't matter because Brett Kavanaugh kept repeating that lie over and over again throughout the hearing, which was ridiculous, right? To make it seem as though everyone disagrees with what Dr. Blasey Ford says, everyone's siding with me. And that's not the case.
The distinction being, they didn't say that it didn't happen. No one said, oh, I remember that party, that's crazy. I was with Brett the entire time, that never happened. Or I was with Christine that entire time and it never happened. What they said is, I don't get the night you're talking about. It's a different thing. So although it's great that Cory Booker asked that, I thought, again, as every Democratic senator missed, I thought they missed the main point. You keep saying these witnesses exonerate you, and while they don't help her argument, they really serve no purpose whatsoever as to whether the event took place.
But the thing he's saying about her friend is specifically wrong, and purposely wrong, and repeatedly wrong. And if you want to say, hey, I get it, he's lying about Devil's Triangle and Ralphing, et cetera, but it's not important. One, I think it is important because of the credibility issue, but this is clearly important about one of the witnesses. And that witness says, I believe Ford. And he keeps saying in his own testimony, oh, she exonerated me. She said that it didn't happen. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Why are you? And you're gonna go on the Supreme Court and that, at a bare minimum, let's say that he's super mistaken about what she said. You're gonna make those kind of mistakes on the Supreme Court? So nah, he's lying.
It's not a big deal. Is perjury not a big deal anymore?
Yeah, and what's the forest for the trees here? Like what he lies about all this stuff. Say it out loud. Why is he lying? Why is he lying? Because these are acts that you can commit with impunity. And where you can reach the highest offices of the land, having done this stuff, you just put it under the rug because you're gonna be supported. That's the thing, is he's being supported by Trump and by the system that put him forward.
And the final irony is, one of the ways that Kavanaugh got famous was by serving on Ken Starr's investigation of Bill Clinton. And he was, according to all the people involved, the most fervent advocate of going the most aggressive against Bill Clinton. Why was he so mad at Bill Clinton? He said it was an outrage that he lied about sex.
Under oath.
under oath.
Right.
That's exactly what Kavanaugh just did. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.